Okay. Just like the last chapter, we did different solvings of quadratic with different methods. So this method of finding the vertex is going to use the completing the square method rather than finding the vertex method. So when we did completing the square before, we would have x's on one side and our constant on another. Well, now we have y in there. Well, y is just going to stay with the constant. So first thing I need to do is add the 24 over. I also need to add in my blank. Then we need to find our missing value to put into the blank. So that's going to be b divided by 2 quantity squared. So that would be 2 divided by 2 squared. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 1 squared is 1. So we're adding 1 to both sides. Combine like terms, so we get y plus 25. And on the right side, we're going to factor. So to factor this, it would end up being condensed to x plus 1 quantity squared. Now, in this process, because we have the y, we're solving for y. Beforehand, we wouldn't have the y, and we would go through a process of solving for x. So since we're solving for y, I'm going to subtract that 25 to the other side, and I get y equals quantity of x plus 1 squared minus 25. And I have vertex form. So it is completing the square method, but it doesn't go through the entire process of completing the square because we're solving for y, not x. Let's try the next one. Y equals x squared plus x minus 6. So again, first thing I do is move my constant to y and add in a blank. And then we complete our b divided by 2. So it'd be 1 divided by 2 quantity squared, which would equal 1/4. So when we add 6 plus 1/4, as a mixed number, 6 and 1/4, but we want improper fractions, so it'd be 6 plus 25/4 equals, over here, when I factor, remember that nice trick that when it factors, it always factors to the answer you get once simplified. So x plus 1/2 quantity squared. And then I subtract over, so y equals x plus 1/2 quantity squared minus 25/4. And we have our answer. Okay, last one for this one. Number 5, y equals 2x squared minus 12x plus 24. Now, before we can complete this, we're going to have to follow the first step, which is dividing by a. So I need to divide all of these by 2. So we get y divided by 2 equals x squared minus 6x plus 12. Okay. And I'm going to let you try from here to get the answer. Go ahead and problem solve a little bit and use 3 and 4 as your guide. Okay, let's see how you're doing with the problem solving. So I'm going to first subtract my 12 over and add in a blank. Then we're taking my value, negative 6 divided by 2 quantity squared, which should be negative 3 squared, which should be 9. Combine like terms. On the right side, we're going to factor. So that'd be x minus 3 squared. Then I'm going to add my 3. And now this is where you may have stopped, or you may have figured out what you have to do. Because we have y divided by 2, and we want y, that means everything is going to have to be multiplied by 2. So when I multiply by 2, I'm going to multiply by 2 to each part. So therefore, we get y equals 2 times x minus 3 squared. Oops, sorry. When I meant to add 3 to the other side, not subtract 3. Let's try that, fix that problem out here. It was negative 3, I should have added 3. I wrote negative 3. So therefore, this would be plus 6. Okay, great job. We're going to do one more of these before moving on to the last type of algebraic problem for today. Okay, here's the last problem, number 6, and I'm going to go ahead and let you start right from the very beginning to complete this problem. Please use number 5 as your guide for number 6. Good luck. Let's see how you did on number 6. So first thing you need to do is divide by a to each term. So we get y divided by negative 3 equals x squared plus 8x plus 53 thirds. Now we're going to subtract 53 thirds to the other side. And we're going to add a blank. Sorry, my writing's a little crooked there. So then we find our b divided by 2 squared, which would be 4 squared, which would be, we're adding 16 to both sides. Now, use your calculator, negative 53 thirds plus 16 as an improper fraction would simplify as negative 5 thirds. Oh, my apologies, not equals. Minus 5 thirds. I said it would equal 5 thirds and I wrote that. Okay, on the right side, we're going to factor. So remember, we factor condensed form would be x plus 4 quantity squared. I'm going to add my 5 thirds to the other side. And then I'm going to have to multiply by negative 3 to each part. Multiplying by negative 3. So we get y equals negative 3 times x plus 4 squared. And 3's will cancel, but the negative will remain, so therefore we'll get negative 5. Okay, so hopefully number 6 was successful for you. If not, pause and make corrections as needed. So the last type of algebraic work we're going to do today is finding the equation of the parabola in vertex form given the vertex and a point. So first we need to identify what we're given here. So we have the vertex, but what does that mean in reference to vertex form? Well, vertex in reference to vertex form is H and K, which helps out. And then a point is going to always reference X and Y. So thinking about our vertex form, Y equals A times X minus H, quantity squared plus K. Of all the letters we have, H, K, X, and Y, we're missing A. So therefore, we're going to solve for A, and in the end, we'll rewrite our equation similar to how we did in the first two problems. So first we have y, substituting -12 equals a times x, which would be -9, minus h, so minus a -5, quantity squared, plus k, so plus 4. And as always, you should follow PEMDAS to go from the inside out. So we have -12 equals a times -9 minus a -5 would be plus 5. So that'd be -4 quantity squared. -4 squared would be 16. And rather than writing a times 16, we would write 16a. And now we're solving for a. So we're subtracting 4 and dividing by 16. So therefore a equals -1. So when we're writing vertex form, remember we just want a, h, and k. So therefore y equals negative, we won't write the 1, times x minus a -5, so x plus 5 squared plus k, so plus 4. And we have our vertex form. Let's try number 8. So we're always going to start by writing the vertex form as our step 1. Step 2 is where we substituted h, k, x, and y. The vertex is hk, and our point is xy. So therefore that would look like -5 equals a times 2 minus 1 quantity squared plus 2. And then we simplify. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 squared would leave me with just 1a, so a. And subtract 2, I would get that a equals -7. So therefore, my final answer would be with a, h, and k. So -7 times x minus 1 squared plus 2. And that's number 8. Okay, number 9, I'm going to write down, and I would like you to try it on your own. Vertex of 2, 3, and a point of 14, 27. Good luck, and I will be back to show you how to do it. Let's see how you did. So first I'm going to identify my variables. I'm going to write down vertex form. Now, as with anything, your work should show exactly like what we do in class. So your work should be vertically done. It should also be organized just as such. So substitute 27 equals a times 14 minus 2 squared plus 3. Start simplifying. You get a times 12 squared. 12 squared is 14. 12 squared is 14. 12 squared is 144. Ooh, my goodness. Subtract the 3, you get 24. Now, when you divide by 144, you get 24 divided by 144, which is 1/6. Right? If you put 6, that's because you automatically, for some reason, just don't like those fractions. I always have problems like this where students just reciprocate their answer Okay, you got to pay attention to what you're dividing by and if it is in fact a fraction or not. So therefore, final answer would be y equals 1/6 times x minus 2 squared plus 3. And that is our answer. And that is it for the rest of the notes. Have a great day.